Well, I think you can't have any kind of culture without employee well-being, that otherwise you really just have dysfunctional culture full of unhappy, stressed out, exhausted people. I'm optimistic that companies are starting to realize that well-being is where everything else begins, that is your culture. This may sound really cynical, but I think, first of all, to side with employees as much as possible. I think there's been a trend of HR people having to choose between management and workforce, and sometimes feeling pressured not to stand up for workers. So I end up doing a lot of reporting with workers and hearing the stories of, well, I don't even dare go to HR. I don't even want to talk to HR because I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. It'll flow back on me. So I think a big thing HR could do is first try to rebuild trust with workers to really let them know you really are on their side and you really are serious about well-being. I can imagine that people actually feel cautious about even asking for help or for well-being support because they're worried it might blow back on them in some way. So I think that aspect of trust really is a big one. It probably will just take time. I think they're the first line of defense. And I also think top management really has to be involved and has to have buy-in on this. The companies I wrote about that had really good cultures, that had a really happy workforce, all began with a CEO or a founder who was really committed to it personally, who is the one who originated that philosophy. I think if it's forced upstream from down in the front row, frontline managers, it's going to be challenged, it's going to have difficulty. But yeah, those frontline managers, that's the person, that's your point of contact if you're an employee. That's the person you're dealing with. And I think I've had different managers over the course of my career, and some I think really were sympathetic and human and understood that we're all people and we all have issues, but it varies. Not all of them feel that way.